Hey up, how do, and welcome to our next episode here on Loose Lips. This is series 2, so if you wanted to see any from our first series, what you need to do is get yourself onto YouTube and put in Pop Cult Chic, or likewise you can go onto our Instagram page, which is pop.cult.chic. You can find all the back catalogue of all the first series of chats. Now, as we roll on to series 2, our first guest was Bobby Martin. He is a gentleman who looks into the frequencies of life, and he was telling us about his captivating experiences and how we can implement them. That chat's going to be up for the next 24 hours. That was followed by Nathan Clark. So people know Nathan Clark from the Brood and L. He was giving us an insight into the successes of the Brood, so that's up there as well. Now we're going to be joined by Felicity Weston, who's just joined the group. Shout out to Gemma. Shout out to Siobhan in group as well. Let's see what Fliss has got to say. Hello.
So lovely. How are you?
Hello. Well, you nearly saw hair then. Blooming it. No one wants to see this hair at minute. No one
Oh,
wants to see this hair at minute.
give us a look.
Do you know what? But right, I'm going to say this as well. A bit of a disclaimer is because of the fedora, it's pressed it down even more. So I thought it was bad, but it's even worse because of the hat hair.
Oh,
So
I
can
love it.
you see that? Like,
Beautiful.
because I combed it out because it's proper springy and spongy. Like look at length on that. Look at length on that. So I pressed it so it's properly pressed down. So yeah, that's my hair.
And
Good
it's
night.
gorgeous. I've missed you so much.
Oh, I've missed you, mate.
Thank you for having me on here. It's a real pleasure.
Mate, you know this, right? You know, people who are watching me and our Felicity have been conspiring to be launching our own podcast.
No.
So this is a little test preview, isn't it?
Hey, say that again.
This is a little test preview for everyone.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you for having me. And choosing.
Always, mate. Always, you're a right good soul, and that's what we're gonna speak to you about, your good-natured soul, and also been setting up your own enterprise. So, are you in your HQ at the moment?
No, it's all locked down at the moment. So I'm just working from home. I've got a little setup. I'm not in it at the moment because the light's better in here. But I've turned my spare room into a little, well, the corner of it is where I do my Zoom onlines usually. So it's just like shoved everything out of the way so that I can have this little tiny sacred space. So it's not Ookushana, but it's good for now because I have Wi-Fi here. So.
How have you found it? Because I know when I've been speaking with you, you've been focused on is it distance healing? Is that what it's called? So is that one of the areas that you're really looking to focus on?
So, do you know what? This has been a real blessing in so many ways because I think that I would never have stepped up in the way to share online unless I was forced because there's something about a screen that's always just put me off. But now I'm finding this new love for the screen and I don't know, I feel that I'm healing stuff. I'm healing stuff by having to step up and find these new ways to share with the world because, you know, for all we know, this may be a new way of life looking forwards. And, you know, if I can't share my service, then what can I do? So I gave myself around 2 or 3 weeks to just kind of sit with my stuff, my feelings, you know, not looking too far in the future and just, I don't know, be with the medicine that was kind of on offer to us, which I believe was presence and like pausing, just stopping and being and going, oh, what is this life? You know, do I enjoy it? And so I did that for 2, 3 weeks. And then I slowly kind of stepped into this new way of sharing, which I'm now loving. Like it's my weekly joy to share on a Friday night usually with so many souls that have been called to do healing work during this time, which is incredible because, you know, we could all be sat there freaking out, you know, and trying to keep busy in other ways, but I've noticed that so many people are just stepping into healing, and they're doing things for themselves that maybe they wouldn't have done if we didn't have this time. So for that, I'm really grateful and in awe of everyone who's chosen to step in. So yeah, and the best thing about it is um, there's no limit, there's no boundary to who can join, because you know Zoom goes worldwide. It doesn't matter. So I'm having people from Canada and America and France and Germany join these offerings that maybe I would never have met in real life. So yeah, it's kind of magic.
I want to say firstly, you're a natural at this, mate. You're absolutely bossing it, like, you know, because I know that you have been a bit hesitant to it, but you know, you've stepped through it and you're coming through looking to engage in this manner. But you are natural at it, so you know, I'm glad that that's been chopped.
Thank you. I when I first said yes to you, I spent the next 5 nights, I think, having nightmares about it. I don't know why. There's something about IG Live that's different to Zoom, because with Zoom, you know who's booked on, you know who's coming, even if you don't know them, you know that you know the crowd, the group that's formed. And with IG Live, it's just like out there live, and everyone, you don't know who's going to be watching, and it's now I'm here. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is easy. But I've been practicing because I've been doing lives every week, and the best thing about this is actually I'm talking to you and you're talking back. Whereas with Zoom, I've got this sea of faces.
Yeah.
They're not communicating back with me, so I usually read people's like language, and you know they'll be nodding, but they're so far away I can't see. So
Yeah.
I feel like talking to myself a little bit, which is a bit odd. But
No, I agree. We all went on Zoom for Helen Fisher's birthday,
yeah,
and just because the next sentence rhymes, it's not as good as how it sounds when it rhymes. So I did shrooms while on Zooms, and it proper went the other way. Just, you know, it sounds like it could be ace, but it went the other way. So I was like, no, 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 because everyone's just so like, ah, it's like, ah,
click off.
yeah, yeah. You know,
And it didn't happen.
no, well, what I did is I sort of laid like horizontal, but then I felt like I was lying down for a live art drawing. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is a bit kinky. And then I slowly let my finger go to the phone, and there's a boop.
Out of there, like coming in and just like
And then sent a proper heartfelt, like, I've got to leave, but thank you for a great night message, like proper 10 paragraphs long, and that proper like, you know,
got the chat facility if you want to like switch off your video and just be there but not really be there, and
no,
just
you've got to be in. You've got to be in with Zoom. You've got to be in with Zoom. But another thing that you said, and I found one of the amazing things about doing this, is the fact that you are able to speak with people wherever they are. Like, I've linked with people in New York who, you know, if I went out there, I could reach out to them. So again, it's offered you now another level and platform. And I do think people are starting to see where they can grow and adapt with it.
I've I've had people emailing me saying, please don't stop doing this when we go back to normal, like because I'm really enjoying it, and I've never been able to join you before because I've got kids, or you know, for this reason or another. So I've made a promise. I've said no matter what, I'm going to keep sharing online, because there is something magical about it, you know, and there's something else, that people are finding it so much easier to let go and surrender to healing in their own space when they're
Mm.
in their little sacred private space. No one can see them. They're not worrying about, you know, who else is in the room, because they're on their own. So they can go a little bit deeper. And people that have been to see me in person, they're saying, I kind of prefer it, because I'm able to make weird noises and, you know, cry and scream if I want to, you know, which is amazing, because healing is, you know, not always pretty.
No, it's definitely knows how to release in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you combine the two? Would you combine like your live workshops with them, or would you keep them separate?
So I was just talking about this yesterday. I'm kind of it'd be nice to combine them so that you wouldn't have to do something twice, but I'd have to have maybe like some kind of camera set up that just looks at me whilst the rest of the room. But I don't know whether it would quite be the same, because when you're live with people, you're working with their energy, and you know, we'll be sharing and talking at different times, and it might be a bit strange for people watching that. So do you know what? I hadn't even thought of that. So now we've had that conversation, I don't think it would work.
I agree. I think but then again, that's what it, so I started this earlier today because now I know that in Australia they needed it for that time. So you could now pocket it for the different regions and do your own parts. And before you know it, you've got the not the same, but you just evolving it for the different sections of people globally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's what I have been doing is, for those who are in completely different time zones, I've been recording the Zooms so that they can watch in their own time, and do it, you know, well, at their own pace as well. But I guess you're missing a little bit of the magic just because you're not with everyone at the same time. But you know, for those who really want to take a journey, it's amazing because I can just send them the link and they can join. And the energy's still there, you know, energy travels through time and space, so it doesn't matter when or where someone does something, we're still all together.
So how did you develop into this journey? Would you like to let people know how you came to be?
Sure. I thought this might be a question. I guess, so I see my entire life as kind of, well, everything that's happened in my life as kind of initiations into my becoming who I am or who I'm meant to be. And this journey is definitely not over. I'm definitely, you know, not done. But yeah, I now see everything that's happened to me, or should I say for me, as it's helped me become who I'm meant to be. So quite often those are the darker things, you know, the really tough times. And I would say that I had to go to the depths of darkness to even see that there was light. To know that there was light, I had to go to the depths of darkness. So that's a massive part of my journey, actually having that dark night of the soul where I was like, what am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? You know, that fear, that all that stuff coming up and going, I'm not sure what the hell's going on, but I have something, and I have an acknowledgement really that this isn't right. Whatever this is, it's not right. And then I had to kind of go on a journey from there of deep healing. And I was thinking, so many of the beings that come to journey with me now, they are just immersed in the healing world. And for me, I did most of my healing kind of on the job, if that makes sense. It's like I was healing as I was healing others.
Yeah.
So magic for me, because I don't know, there's just something special about it. But I wonder how different it is for those who are just like immersed in the healing journey, whilst not healing others. They're just like focusing entirely on themselves. And I think I had to learn slowly that I needed to gift myself more healing space and time. So at the beginning of my journey, it was a lot of service to other people, and it's only through doing that I recognized, hold on a minute, you're not actually gifting yourself the same level of love as you are these other people. So yeah, that's a journey in itself. But back to the question.
No. Before you go back to the question, because I'd like to interject there. It was a real good segue, and I like to think like, as when you're teaching people, and it is all about energies. How do you protect yourself, even though you're giving so much of yourself to somebody? Because you don't want to be absorbing their, like, it's such a conundrum.
Yeah, it's a real tough one, and a lot of healers really struggle with it. So I teach Reiki amongst other things, and so many people say, you know, they're so affected when they heal someone else. They literally feel that person's stuff, and that it might sit with them for days. So protecting your energy is one of the most important things to do. And I have definitely learnt this the hard way as well. I think all healers do, because you don't really know how to do anything until you're faced with having to do it. So it's finding those new ways of protecting my energy, which changes all the time, really. But I spend as much time in self-ritual and self-healing as I do with other people, if not more now, which is really good in terms of protecting my energy and making sure I'm okay, my cup's full before I help anyone else. So that's a big one. And then I've got loads of little tools which would just make you laugh. I've got one of them right here in case I get nervous. But you know, this is a tuning fork, and it's sound, it's vibration, which I know you're interested in. But the way that it works is it's kind of like, it's like being plugged into source. It's mad, and you can feel the vibration travel through your entire body, and it's almost like just bringing you back into harmony. So that Trusty tool is, I need that before a healing, after a healing, all day long. It's my new high as well. It's like, feels good.
That sounds ace. When I was at Glastonbury last year watching the Chemical Brothers, I literally felt everything inside me like move. I've never felt anything like that before. You know, I've never literally felt my DNA almost restructuring. So I imagine that's what that must be like when you tap in it, and you can feel like almost like a jigsaw almost of you just like alignment. Do you then just like sort of just flow with it all?
What, with this?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, people go on real deep journeys. I've had people screaming and crying and releasing all these stuff just from a bit of vibration. But if you think, you know, you just mentioned what music did to you. It's the same. It's sound, and sound has this beautiful way of feeding us. It travels into cells. You know, it connects with our water. It vibrates everything. And it moves in every direction, sound does, and infinitely. So it doesn't stop moving, even though we stop hearing it, which is amazing. And music on top of just the sound, it's emotive, you know. You feel things when you hear someone's voice, which, again, someone's voice is completely unique. Like, nobody has a voice like you or like me. And that's incredible. Like, take a moment to think how incredible that is. Okay, yeah, we all look different, but our voice is our medicine. So for the singers out there and the musicians, they're all bringing their magic, which is totally unique. And that's why it does something to us, doesn't it? When we hear that, you know, and you were taken to another dimension and you felt it within your cells and you're like, woo, alive. So yeah, this does similar. So,
and before you go back to answering your question, right, the first chat that I had today, and I definitely need to put this gent into like your circles, because I think you two would vibe with what you're saying. He's got this frequency detector, basically. Have you seen or heard about it?
saw a part of your session with him, and I was like, what is this around his neck? I was like,
yeah.
I've heard of very similar. So I see a homeopath who has this machine that reads energy, and she can literally tell me what I'm feeling, even if I don't realize that I'm feeling that. And I'm like, whoa. So I knew that kind of thing existed, but I didn't realize that you could wear it around your neck. And I didn't catch everything that he said, but does he work with other people to their energy and find out where they're kind of holding stuff? And yeah,
exactly like that. He's able to sense their energies through literally seeing where their frequency is at, and then probing questions to then allow to get a rise or, you know, affect the frequency and put them into the frequency they want to be. And he says he was doing a tantric session with a couple, and they were all just sat, and he could see the circle flowing of energy, and he could see when they were losing the focus with the machine, and he knew how to bring them back into line.
amazing. Wow. Yeah.
But
Like, I'll definitely connect with him and ask him about that because it looks insane.
yeah,
You know, I think that for those of us who don't necessarily believe in energy, which for me just sounds crazy, but there's some people out there that don't. Um, those things are great because it's like, here you go, here's proof
yeah.
that energy is real and we can read each other through our energy. So yeah, I think we'll see more and more of those things evolving um, over time, and before you know it, we're all going to be obsessed with energy and everything else just, yeah. Well, no, don't get me wrong. I think um, everything has its place, right? But for me, with health and wellness, the big missing piece is energy. It's this the part of us that we can't see, you know, that isn't physical, and the machine that the Western medicine kind of treats us as, in a sense. That's what's missing. That is the missing piece. So I feel that if we combine that East meets West medicine, that energy and the physical, then we've got it all. We'll have it all. But it's just remembering and getting everyone to remember that actually the unseen is potentially even more important than the seen.
Well, one of the luxuries of doing what I get to do is speaking with so many different people and then seeing how certain outlooks link with one another. So one of them was Bobby, who I just mentioned before. The other is Kelly, who got married to Rich.
Oh yeah, I know her. I met her at Glastonbury actually.
Right, her chat was unbelievable, and her chat was about the nutritional side of it, but she was very strong on the side of East meets West and the philosophy. And one question I posed to her, and I'll pose this to you as well, is how do we get society to consider treatments like yourselves as essential rather than luxury?
Mm. It's a really tough one, isn't it? Because you know, for well, here in the UK, the NHS is, you know, our medical care is free for a start, you know, and it's so you don't have to think about paying for what seems like our medical care, but most healers, you know, that it's their work, it's their life. So of course there's a charge, and for some people that's just an immediate no. You know, they don't feel like that it has a place, you know, or that they can even afford it. Um, so there's that. There's the money aspect that's a tricky one. But I think I think really above all, it's. I always say you don't know what you need until you try something new, and then actually take it away and
Yeah,
realize that you need that.
yeah,
Me, I have these go-tos that I know now that I need, but way back when I had no idea that that's what I needed to feed me and keep me well in all the ways holistically. Um, so, you know, but how do you get people to try all these things and find their ways of keeping well? So for me, I have to have some kind of energy work. I try and do weekly from another healer if I can. I have to be in nature regularly, otherwise I go crazy. I have to move, otherwise my body just screams at me and says, "What are you doing? Ow, I'm in pain." Uh, you know, I have to do some kind of meditation, um, even if that is just finding some kind of stillness of just a state of being that isn't, yeah, on the go. You know, it doesn't have to be sat here like this. It can be, you know, painting. Not that I paint, but I can try. But yeah, and what else do I do? And breath work, that is a big one. Like, even if that just means being present with your breath for a minute, you know, actually remembering, oh, I can breathe. How amazing is this breath that gives me life? What happens if I take it a little bit more slowly and really gift myself the medicine that is the breath, you know.
You've just used the word there, gifting ourselves. That's such a good turn of phrase. I've
Mhm.
never seen it. I've never heard it like that. And as soon as you said it, I felt that was that, like it's a gifting ourselves. Because
Yeah,
I've reached out to you. I get Reiki from you, but I've not had it in recent times as much as I'd love to because of I see it sometimes as more like, oh, I need it, rather than the other side of I should have it. And just hearing you there, it's such a simple, subtle shift, but you don't know you need it until you've not had it. But when you've not had it, you reach out for it, but you should just have it. It's crazy.
yeah, it is. And I mean, there's people, there's a lot of people like you that just come when they get this thing like, oh, I need something to bring me back into balance. But there's others that will, yeah, that come regularly every week. They know by now that they need it in their lives, or at least it brings more harmony to their life, you know.
Mm.
And that harmony is worth dedicating the time, the money, the energy, whatever, to that thing. But I think that is something that you learn over time. And the, I basically, with all my clients, I say, okay, there's three things you need on the healing journey, and they are dedication to the process of healing. It doesn't have to be coming to me every week, but some form of dedication to the healing process. Um, Patience, knowing that it's not going to happen overnight. This is a journey that is lifelong. So you're always going to come up against stuff, no matter how much healing you've done. And thirdly, trust or faith. Faith, and that trust or faith can be simply in the process. You know, it doesn't have to be a person or a thing. It doesn't have to be in Reiki. It can just be in the process of the universe, you know, of the healing process. So they're the three things that I suggest that you need on this journey. If you're gonna do it, you might as well dedicate to it, right? um, so I do occasionally get people coming that think, you know, they've tried everything else, but I'm going to try this for a quick fix. There is no such thing. There is no such thing as a quick fix to anything. Um, so yeah, I think that's a big one. I think, and coming back to your question of how do we get people to introduce this this more holistic approach into their life, it's tricky, isn't it? When you need to dedicate, and some people just, I don't know, they want that quick fix so much that the dedication goes out the window. But for me, like anything worth having, you have to dedicate. And if you know, if your health and your wellness, your yeah, your holistic wellness is worthwhile, which of course it is, then yeah, dedicate away, make it important.
You look at the rise of exercising, people going to gyms. Do you think that the holistic side could have a similar boom and influence on society? And could there be patterns of how gyms have set up that could be implemented in the holistic side of business as well?
I think that would be amazing. Um, I feel that in the healing world there is something for everyone. You can find healers out there that are doing things for donations or for free even. You know, you can find healers that meet you where you are. You know, but you'll also find healers that charge an absolute fortune, and they're absolutely worth it. You know, but I'd say that most healers will do a bit of both. You know, like for example, at the moment, my offerings, I'm doing donation so that anybody can come, and they, even if it's just donating £1, um, they can still come receive the healing. And the reason I can do that at the moment is because I can open Zoom up to as many people who can fit, and that's hundreds. And luckily, you know, I'm getting those numbers, and I'm able to support. And actually, the people that are able to still pay what they would pay are helping those that can't afford to pay, the full price or whatever it might be. So, whether or not we'll ever have a holistic gym kind of thing, I don't know. But for those people that are watching who feel that maybe they can't afford this healing way of life, this holistic way of life, do some research, because there are people out there that will accommodate or can accommodate, especially now, because people are sharing these donation-based offerings and free yoga classes, free breath work, free meditations, and a lot of them are asking for donations, and you just give what you can. So actually there's so many blessings to this time that we're in, because, and maybe that's why there's so many people actually stepping up to do the healing work now, because they can afford it, or it doesn't seem so out of reach, and they've got the time.
I think they've got the time, but also it feels like a summoning of sorts. It definitely feels like it's a proper summoning.
Oh gosh, yeah. I feel like I've done like a life review this past, what has it been, 7 weeks, maybe more. I feel like, in a sense, it sounds a bit strange, but I've been preparing to die. It's like I've been preparing to die. I've been looking back over my life, dreaming about things that have happened to me, and been like fully immersed in a lot of emotions, which has been deeply healing and pretty mad. But I believe that it's preparing for an old way to die, an old way of me to die. We look at death as something scary, but it's a massive part of life, and I think we go through these cycles, these circles of being, of becoming, and then parts of us dying. And I think that collectively right now we are going through this much needed death of many ways that are not working. So yeah, it's kind of exciting, but the emotions that are being drawn up in people are pretty intense. A lot of my clients are struggling, or were struggling at the beginning, because all this stuff was coming up to be healed. But like you said before, we've got that opportunity now, and how incredible is that we are almost forced into healing.
I think that's it. Maybe because at the opening of it, there have been so many things that people who haven't gone down this particular path maybe been intrigued by it but haven't had a chance to follow it up. They've gone through so much intensity at the start. I lost my head for 18 hours at the start. I tell you, like, oh, blinds were closing. I went, mate, honestly. And then I was like, now we're back. We're good. We've got this. We've got so. And then, but that's me, who I believe has an understanding and a depth with it. So other people may have just been, this is everything that I've worked my entire life for. And maybe through the other side, they now have the opportunity to reach out.
Yeah, I think, I let myself get sucked into that darkness longer than I thought I would, but it was more just, I was watching the news, which I never do day to day ever.
But did you feel that you had to, because you have to be up to speed with it, don't you?
Ignorant. I didn't want to, ignore what was going on. I felt like I needed to have some level of awareness, so that I could make conscious decisions. But it's tricky, because the news is the news, isn't it? How much of it do we believe? And it just then, our trust comes into question, doesn't it? And when we don't feel like we can trust the news and the government and all these people that are meant to be looking after us, we just go into fear.
And also off the back of that, you've got that side, and then you've got that side of feeling powerless, because it's like, well, how do I make an impact against this? And then I think maybe where we've been similar is we'll let it sort of like settle, And then it's like there's something in them. What I felt was, well, I'm here to spread the light and connect people, spark that soul of that generation. So I'm going to do things online to engage with people, and this is how this has come about. And you said the same. You sat on it a bit, but it's funny how when you are in that place, it's very real. Like that 18 hours was like horrible, but through the side of it, it just shows like there's so much resolve and there's so much light that is then. And do you know what, there's so much stubbornness, like nah, that's not what it's about. Like this is what it's about, this is the faith, this is the truth. Let's push on even more. If you want more, we'll give it more, universe, we'll give it more.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to see all these like opposing theories and people getting angry at each other. You know, that's the last thing we should be doing. You know, the truth of life is that nobody knows. Nobody knows. No one has any certainty of anything. That's the reality we live in, and that's the beauty of life. You know, that's why we're here. We're here to explore, to search, to seek, to learn, to unlearn, to relearn, and yeah, we're not meant to be opposing each other's views, but just listening, exploring, you know, holding space for someone else's thoughts and not making it
personal.
Yeah, like just because you might think different to me doesn't mean I'm wrong or you're wrong. You know, why does it happen that way?
It does feel like there is a bit of a culture at the minute where sides are trying to belittle one another, and the truth is we're just wanting the best. Like, even though one side thinks one and one thinks the other, we still want the better of just everyone to be safe as possible and for this to be done with as quick as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a shame, but I think that people's stuff is coming to surface, isn't it? And there's a lot of ego there as well, which is not anybody's truth. You know, we're not um, we're not angry, vicious people by nature. You know, that's no one's truth. But we can get lost in things, and that can rise to surface and be projected onto someone else. But I think that we're doing some deep learning, but my hope is that we find more harmony, and that doesn't mean like everyone thinking the same, but actually just accepting that everybody. Oh, you just.
I love that. Everybody, and then just everybody, let's smash up the place. That's what that was.
I don't even know what's happened there. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, we're safe. What was I saying?
You're saying that the last word I remember was everybody.
Somebody didn't want me to say that. No, I know. So everybody can have different opinions, and we just listen, and we don't need to make it like a war of words or a war of thoughts. You know, that's, even though, you know, we're not fighting with swords, it's still the same thing, isn't it? We're fighting with words, and it's not peace. And peace doesn't mean everybody uniting with the same thoughts and feelings and ways, but just uniting and knowing that we're all here to spread maybe a different message so that we can, you know, learn from each other rather than, you know, just all following one way, because we know that that's not worked ever.
So true.
Yeah.
Do you ever, you know, with you involved in the world that you're in, do you ever get a time to like switch off? Not like switch off as in not be clued up with what's happening, but just zone out and just, you know, watch a bit of Netflix or chill and be able to watch it objectively though, rather than like watching what's happening.
So yeah, I need my downtime, and do you know my thing, and everyone has their thing that takes them away from their, I don't know, their world, their usual world. And you know, for some people it's playing games, video games. Other people, I don't know, dancing. My thing is watching old nostalgic like shows that I used to watch as like a teen or early 20s. And
What, like Buffy?
I never used to watch Buffy, but maybe I should give it a go.
Get on Buffy.
Mine are like, you know, things like the OC. I used to love the OC.
I love the OC, mate.
That from at the end of last year, I watched that from the beginning to the end, and you know, the whole way through, I was frustrated because there was so much happening that I was just like, what is wrong with these people? You know, and I was thinking, why am I watching this? But at the same time, I could not get enough, and it just feeds me in this way that's just like, I don't know. And every time I watch it, even if I've watched it, you know, 5, 6 times, I learn something new because I'm a different person to the last time I watched it, and it's a new pair of eyes watching it. And I don't know whether this is a good thing or not, but I could watch the same thing quite a few times, most things, and not remember the end. Like
What?
I think it's pretty good. I can't remember the ends of things.
It is good in a way because everything's always new, but that's like what?
I know it's like I've got a good memory with certain things, but when it comes to movies, yeah, I mean I know that I've watched it, but I do not remember the end. So it's like it's great. I can just watch things over and over again. But yeah, in terms of what you were saying, I definitely need my downtime, my off time. I can't be in energy space all the time. I have to be normal. I have to, you know, have fun as well. You know, it's not, you don't have to choose. We are multifaceted human beings. We're not meant to do one thing all the time. So I definitely have my little, they're not really dirty secrets, are they? They're just, I don't know, what would you call it?
Clean linen living.
Yeah, clean living. But you know, my partner,
Shout out Joe.
Ciao, Joe. He he's been playing this video game on his iPad, and I don't know what it is, but I know he feels the same when I'm watching my shows that I've seen like a million times as I do when he's playing that game. And it's our comfort, and all we can do is respect each other's little comfort. This way of just like zoning out for a bit and not being in the world, because it's not, as long as you're not doing it all day long, escapism is okay. You know, everything in moderation, right?
What is it? Oh, sorry. What is it like when you go to another healer?
Magic. I love going to other healers because although I can self heal and I know what I'm doing and I know what I need, there's nothing like surrendering to somebody else, you know, and or to, you know, whatever kind of healing it might be. Um, so I love it, and I've been trying to do as much as I can in this time of receiving from other people. It's very important to keep receiving, especially when you're a giver of nature or in service to the world. You know, you probably have the same. Well, you come for Reiki. You know when you need to receive, when you've been giving too much of yourself. Um, and every healer has their unique gift. They have their little magic thing that, you know, somebody else doesn't have. So um, I love it. Nothing more nourishing than receiving from somebody else.
Can you switch off? Because like if I had to compare it to like one of my like steps in my career, my creative career, like when I go watch a stand-up comedian, I try to watch it as just like an audience member, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd have done that different, or I'd have tweaked that there, or I'd have, and I just, you know, it's such a crazy one. So I wonder if it's similar with yourself, because obviously you're wanting to be still of mind, but yet they're still doing something which you have a well vested like acknowledgement to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be that little lefty brain that tries to get involved, and I think that's true of anything. that yeah, you connect with very deeply, or you do yourself. I've definitely got better at it the deeper I've got into my own healer, because I think the more comfortable you feel with, well, this isn't for all things, but for me, the more comfortable I feel with who I am as a healer, and where my gifts lie, I can let myself go more. But I think, um, to add to that, I am better at surrendering now than I ever have been in the past, and that's something that comes with practice. Um, and that's something that, of course, you is not the same as when you go see a comedian. It's not necessarily, well, not so much about surrendering, is it?
I think it is surrendering though. I think it's you've got to at that moment in time know what you're there for. So you are surrendering to being what you're there for. So if I'm watching a comedian, as much as I'm looking to learn my own style, I'm looking to enjoy that comedian. And if I take myself out of specific moments of it, I might miss the whole show because I'm tweaking bits that I'm never going to be able to adjust to anyway. And I sort of look at it, it's like imagine the third eye and what we can see. So there's the soul and then there's the vision of what we see. It's almost like those thoughts are like a fly, like trying to like just like flicker in between, and it's like you can take all your focus to try and get rid of the fly, but you're missing what's happening, or you can see what's happening and then the fly will just do it anyway.
Yeah, it's very true. I think it takes practice, doesn't it, to surrender in any way, shape, or form. And it's something that, as humans, we're rubbish at. We're really bad at surrendering. Um, and me included, I've been working to surrender in this healing world for like nearly a decade, and I still struggle at times.
Do you align it with the ego? Because sometimes for me, I think it is that, but then when I know that it's come up, but it's not a true thought of what I'm connected to, even though it's come up, it's like, well, clearly that thought is the ego. So it gives me an avenue to, step back again. And that's what I'd say I can open up to you because, we're on a level like, I fully meditate, but I'm always like, I'm meditating now. I'm constantly meditating, but I'm really struggling to find that time to actually just sit back, close my eyes, or get lost in connects like I really did before. So it's almost like I'm on a level, but I know I could go deeper to bring out more. And it's just a little personal, like internal debate that I'm having because I know like I I gauge a lot of people that might meditate, but still might not be able to add that to situations that try throw them in life. Whereas I believe like when situations like that come, that's when I'm at my karma. So it's almost like I'm deep, but then I know that I want to go deeper to allow my manifestations to be a lot more in sync like they previously have been.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it takes practice for sure. The more that we step into that surrendered state, the better at it we become. But I also believe that in the world that we live in, we probably will only ever find pockets of that surrendered state, like moments of what they call samadhi or enlightenment or whatever name is given. But even if we get moments of that, where that's seen as like no thought or pure thought, where we're just like fully present, that's what it is, it's presence, then that's amazing, because we don't really live, it's not like we're meditating on the top of a mountain on our own with no food, no TV. We've got so much external stuff going on, and so much going on around us in every way, that it's really hard to just find those pockets. So I think the more that we say meditate in whatever way that might be, that those moments of samadhi or pure thought, no thought, will transfer into different parts of your life. So you just get better and better at being present. And I think, for so many of the things we do, the thing that we lack, that we need the most, is exactly that, and that's presence. So And intention, presence and intention.
Intention. I think intention's key. I think presence is. But what was beautiful of how you just flipped that is that it's sometimes when you have those moments and then it wanes or it fleets, I can think, oh, I should be in it more. Whereas you're flipping it saying it's always going to be there. But when it comes, embrace it because it's not meant to be. But try, once you appreciate it, it'll probably be a lot more prolonged.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just flip that. That's what you do. It's what you do.
Yeah, I think we put ourselves under so much pressure to get to that surrendered state or that pure thought when we're not meant to really. You know, it's even if it's just being quiet for a little while, and that's our version of meditation. That's amazing. You know, we put ourselves under so much pressure to be the best at meditating, and we've got this vision of, you know, if to be a true meditator, we have to be like no thought, like this, able to sit for hours. It's just not the truth. Um, you know, gift yourself pockets of time. That is it. Gift yourself presence. Gift yourself intention into everything that you do, so that it has purpose. You know, and for to weave in something that I offer, that I love and that really has gifted this to me is ritual. So I share sacred healing rituals, which I guess for me, steeped in tradition. It's um, our world has replaced ritual with routine, and you could look at them as being pretty similar, you know, routine and ritual. But what is missing from routine are those two things: presence and intention. So, and connection. I think connection's a big one, and that is what ritual offers us. It offers us um, time to connect with something greater than us.
Yeah, it gives you a pause. As soon as you say a ritual, it's a pause for appreciation before you do what you do.
Or you do it, yeah.
Yeah.
And anything into a ritual.
Yeah.
Instead of a routine, you can even turn your morning cup of tea into a ritual.
It's a ritual. Do you remember when I was brushing my teeth at Glastonbury and I made my song? And you heard me do my song, brushing my teeth.
Do you remember the song?
I do. Happy, happy, shiny teeth. Happy, 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 shiny teeth. That's why the bling.
That's your ritual. Oh my memories. Yeah, and that's it. We don't have to light a million candles and have incense to make it a ritual. We can just bring some presence into something, and transform it from being a routine, which is kind of dull, isn't it? It's good for us to have some structure. I don't think as much as some of us do. It's good for us to have some structure, but if that just becomes the way that we go about life, then we lose life. We lose that like magic of life. So yeah, it's gratitude, it's presence, it's intention, it's all the good stuff basically that we're missing, that we don't realize is actually healing in itself. That is healing. Yeah. So I hope that kind of ignites something within whoever's watching to.
It did me. I felt the Chemical Brothers DNA change again. Like I definitely felt it. I was like, there it is. And to bring it full circle, I think one of the ways that we can transfer more people in society to it is the terminology. Like that routine and ritual is such a beautiful example to say, look, like you're going to do that thing either way. Just give it an acknowledgement before and give it a presence of mind before you do it. And that is a ritual. And before you know it, it's a terminology.
Yeah, and that's what people need, because yeah, saying ritual and sacred ritual, it sounds like it's got to be something like completely out there that is not going to feel comfortable for us, but it doesn't have to be. It can be so simple, and I don't know. I hope that I can awaken that within people. That is, I think, big part of my mission in this lifetime is to ignite a remembrance, I think, of old ways of being. Yeah. So
I love I love that. I love that. And this has been an epic chat, and everyone in the group loved it as well.
I'm not. I'm sad that we've got to leave now. Oh,
Well, what we're going to do, like Will Young, I think I better leave right now before I go any deeper.
he was amazing.
He was a bit, he is amazing. Was he still with us? Do you know what? I was watching Skins. So if you like looking for things to binge watch, Skins, like that'll fit in the nostalgia. He's in one of the latter episodes as like a teacher.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I must have missed that. I used to love Skins. Cookie, loved him. I think we've
Cookie,
had this conversation before.
eh?
I'm sure we've had this conversation before. I love this.
Yeah, Cook's the Don.
Mhm.
Chris is the best character overall, I believe, but Cook is the Don. Cook is the Don. Like when you watch it back, it just Cook could have chilled with us in Leeds circa 2006. Do you know what I mean?
Really? Oh no, I think that you can learn so much from these programs if you look for the lessons. You know, they're there. It's like watching people's lives. We learn so much from our own lives, right, and observing others.
But
That
but I sorry to cut you, but I feel as well it's the other way, and I think why a lot of people look for drama in their life is because they watch soaps and they see particular hostile storylines, and they feel like that's what they have to have some form of a life, not a life like a life, but like some saying in a life.
I completely agree. When I look back and watch things, like I watched Desperate Housewives in my teens, and I became like, and a lot of the characters in that program are horrible, and I learned from them, because I was an absorber of stuff. I wasn't full in myself, or I had all these wounds and this uncertainty and this feeling of being lost. So I took on this stuff, and I was like, that's real life. That's how I should be. So I think you're totally right. So to touch on that, I think you almost need to watch these things from a place of consciousness, which it makes it harder to watch because you're like, these people are nightmares. But yeah, I realized the other day that I'm going to be really cautious about letting my children watch certain things. But how do you navigate that? It's really tough. Um, but I don't think our TV is quite as bad as it was. I might be wrong. I don't watch TV now. I only watch old stuff.
But it was still good though. It was still entertaining, and that's the thing. I think like it's crazy. It's like it's still good stuff to watch, but it's only when you go back at it now. But if you go back at it now, at least you've got the opportunity to let them know what the sort of show is, as opposed to thinking this is how it has to be.
True, yeah.
But
Guidance of, this is exactly what we shouldn't do. We can learn what's wrong. And I think the eyes that I watch with now, I can see that things are wrong. But I just didn't have that, I didn't have that consciousness when I was watching them the first time. So, yeah.
there you go. Do you reckon in 30 seconds, because I'm getting counted down by Instagram, you could sum up Ookushana and its courses, and also how people can get in touch with you if they
Uh,
want to host things there?
Seconds. Okay, so you can find the website www.ookushana.com, and that will guide you to all our upcoming events and courses. We've got teachers that join from all over the world, sharing different trainings, movement classes, sound healing. There's loads of amazing stuff. So just come and have a look, or shout me on hello@ookushana.com, and yeah, ask me anything you want. I'm here to serve and to listen. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad you're getting more comfortable in this world, because you are a natural at it, and I look forward to when we do the podcast as well.
Can't wait now.
Yes, stay safe, my lovely. Say hello to Joe, and peace.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you everybody for watching. That was Felicity Weston of Ookushana. Make sure you give her a follow. I'm Ben Random. This is Loose Lips. I'm going to be back in literally a minute speaking with Laura Wellington. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Peace.